It always comes to this. More nice shit. Hello there guys, back again to do another tattoo progress update today. The last tattoo progress update prior to today was in reference to my forehead tattoo here. And you can see the shape of it a little bit better today than you have been able to in the last few vlogs that I've made. Some of that was like the swelling and bruising. You know, you can't really see all the little details as well when things are puffed up. And that's part of why I do expect a touch-up run on most things, full color, full black related, because whenever you're working the skin, it tends to swell up and expand, and it's hard to even tell if things are properly saturated, especially when you're working on drier skin. It's like hands, elbows, things like that. It's hard to tell kind of what's saturated and what's on the skin. Our skin has a tendency to sort of hold on to the ink no matter what you do. So it's, you know, it's fairly common to need little touch-ups and stuff. I can see a few areas in the black where there'll be some smoothing to be done, but overall it's pretty good for first pass to be such heavy black in there. And again, foreheads seem to bleed a lot. I've been told by other people with forehead tattoos, although there aren't many of them, that their foreheads also bled quite a bit. So it's, you know, I think it's got something to do with like the pull of gravity as well, where, you know, your head, it's kind of, if you're getting something tattooed here, it's just going to keep rolling down, right? It's not going to, the blood flow is just going to kind of seep out of you. It's not like where, say, you got something done on your chest or something. It's a little less, I don't know what it is. I found the same thing with my chin. My chin also bled quite a bit, and we have my chin very solid now, but even then, you know, it took a lot of work. I think my chin's been tattooed 9 or 10 times. And of course, it wasn't enough to just black my chin out. I had to put white and red on black on top of it. So, you know, obviously you needed to do a little more work to get the result you wanted. And then even then, it's a bit of a duller canvas. It doesn't show through as well as, say, even the neck below it. So there's certain skin that just shows ink better than others as well. You know, if you're going to get something super, super detailed, you don't do it on your hand generally, for example. You can, but it's not advised. It's better to do that same thing somewhere like your forearm, where your skin is a little bit better. So anyway, not to get too much off on a rant there. Yeah, this is healing up fairly nicely, as I said. I think we'll need a second pass up on the red cover here. Again, that was opaque over red, so you can see that it's got that kind of pinky base, whereas we want to get it more like what we have over here in the roses. And again, those were opaques on red as well. So big MO, opaque grays, and then white after, I found is a really good way to not only mute color but completely cover color without having to use black. So if you've got color tattoos, you want to you know, strip up the color or change to some version of black and gray, opaques are great for that. And you know, I think it was a year and a half ago, Kevin and I, maybe closer to 2 years ago, on Remy Reacts, covered a guy named Andre Makishi, who does opaque cover-ups of pretty much anything and everything, and you would never even know there was a tattoo prior. He's done it on black and gray and full color sleeves and back pieces and whatever else, but there was one back piece in general where he covered something and it actually looked less like a cover-up than the non-covered side of the back. I'll put that in here because it was pretty impressive. But yeah, tattooers who know how to use opaques are a force of nature when it comes to cover-ups, and there's just about nothing they can't do. I find that opaques go in better than white. I think maybe because there's some black in there, or it's not as thick or something. I don't know what the case is, but I found that the opaque grays saturate better than white does. And then once you've done a pass of opaque gray, then you go in with the white and you can brighten things up. But white is a worse cover method than pretty much anything I've seen. It's when covering big areas with white, it does tend to be a little more splotchy than what you would get with an opaque gray. It saturates a little more evenly, more like a color, or even a black. Anyway, not to get off on too much of a tangent on opaques, I had another session with Rick. So, our last session we had gotten into my elbow again. You can see my elbow, again, that dry skin, still holding on to that. But I think we got a better result there. And the places that have peeled have less of that yellow. We'll see what this looks like when it peels. And we also did in here again. And we got most of that color in there pretty good now. We may end up still going back into that again yet. I don't know, because, it's tricky skin. I've got some scar tissue in random places, and some parts are harder to saturate than others. And then this last session we did, Rick came in with the black again. At the time, it was much to my chagrin, but he did add a lot more detailing, and we covered quite a bit of the color that he put in here with black. So, as we found with, say, the spider webs on this arm, and then the eye over here, once you have color over black, you can come back in and you can do black over top of the color, and it goes darker than it would if you did black on straight black. It would seem strange to think, but it is the case that, once you saturate color into a field of black, after a certain point, there's not much black left in the balance, and then when you reintroduce black, it takes on a sharper clarity. And you, like, for example, I don't think we could have done this tattoo straight over black the same way. We could have done some version of it, but I don't think that the blacks would have been as dark in contrast to the red. So layering is the path ahead as far as what you can do with cover-ups. As I always say, the more you're willing to put into it, the better it can be. And say if you only have like one sleeve that you need to cover up or that you're working on, I feel like that's a very easy thing to do, and almost will take you very little time, realistically, in comparison to, say, going through 5 or 6 years of laser, like one of my friends has, who's done around 25, 30 sessions of laser across his entire arm. Whereas what you could do is black out your whole arm, and then within a few months you start building whatever image you want on it. You don't have to wait that 6-month period to work over top of it that you do after laser as well. So even after you get all the laser done, you'll still have to come in 6 months later to start any tattoo work over it, because any area that you laser is still technically degenerating for quite some time, and the new ink that you put in there will likely be affected by it as well. So it's not perfect. And to be honest with you guys, like, I actually hope that laser comes along a long way over the next 5-10 years. I hope they make some advancements, because right now, as it is, it's a real hard sell. And I do it daily here, or at least semi-daily. Laser's not the most popular thing, but I do a lot of laser. And when a guy who makes money doing laser is telling you it's not the best, there's your sign that it's probably not the best. And I've heard some people say, oh, it depends on the laser you've got, and oh, if you know what you're doing with laser. Like, no, none of those things really matter that much. We have a good laser here. It has nothing to do with that. It depends on how the tattoo is done, the inks that were used, where they put the ink, is it blown out, is it scarred? Like, there's a lot of factors that are out of your hands as the laser guy. You're just there to do your best for the most part. you have a very limited range of different things you can do with a laser. It's not as technically varied as what you would encounter with a tattooer, for example. There are only so many settings on a laser, and you can tweak some dials and stuff, but ultimately it's going to come down to how the tattoo was done and what was used for the tattoo and who put it in and all these other things. With that said, we also got into this tentacle in here, and we did quite a bit of color. We did actually about 4 hours. It didn't seem like it because there were piss breaks and, usual fucking around, but there was a lot of work done. And so whenever you get a lot done, it's a good day, but it just highlights just how much more there is to do. And I know there is. When I was saying the other week here that Rick was thinking we had, I think he thinks we've only got 5-10 weeks left. I think it's still going to be that upper limit of closer to the 80. And I said from the start that this project was going to be between 60 to 80 sessions, and I'm not walking back on that. Here we are, session 45. And I look back in the last year, more than a year that I've been working on this project, a lot has happened. My whole look is different than it was when we started this. And my waking life is a lot different than when we started this. When we started working on this, for example, Kevin was still at the shop. I was still doing Remy Reacts with Kevin. And my wife was still thinking of getting into tattooing. She's now at the shop every day. And I still had a 200 and something K Instagram following and a 1.1 million TikTok. So in the time that I've been working on this sleeve, my life has changed a lot. My YouTube has changed a lot. My social media presence has changed a lot. And it's entirely possible with the track I'm on that by the time we're finished this sleeve, I'm not even talking to you guys anymore because my YouTube could be gone. I just recently, like I've talked about a little bit on the channel, but I held off on posting that Lily Lou podcast for quite a while because we were hoping Lily Lou got his channel back, and they never did. So these things are a reality, unfortunately. And currently, I've been on a 5-day Instagram comment ban. And to be honest with you guys, I barely ever interact with my Instagram anymore. And it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I think I've wrote 2 comments in the last week or 2. And even then, the odd time that I'll try and reply to one, I'm comment banned. So social media silencing and canceling is a real thing. And I think it's going to get way worse before it gets any better. I think we're in for most of our creators that we follow, not just me, most of our creators that we followed have encountered difficulties and frustrations with this bullshit. Most of them just don't want to talk about it. And I really feel like it should be commonplace. I feel like algorithms should be taught in school because these frustrating processes that I'm going through on social media are going to be rolled out into most of our life fairly soon. Algorithms are going to be running almost everything. Almost everything is going to be automated by AI. And so far, it's been a sloppy process. It has not been as exact as they would like it to be, and I don't think it's good enough for them to be advocating for and giving responsibility of people's livelihoods to. TikTok was not monetized in Canada, and I always wanted it to be because I could have been making thousands of dollars, and I could have actually not worked anymore, believe it or not. Not that I would have not worked, but it would have been worth 5 to 10 grand a month for me where I was and the views I was pulling. So though I wish that it had been monetized, it's probably for my best that it wasn't monetized in Canada yet because I would have become dependent on it to some level. And then it would have just been taken away from me by people who don't like me. And I don't think that that's fine. I don't think that's okay. I don't think that that's how these platforms should be working. I don't think that these platforms should be subject to that sort of thing. I think it should be open seas. I think pretty well, unless you're murdering people, committing crazy sexual acts, or something else akin to that, you should be fine to do whatever you want. Now, like, and this goes for my haters too. You should be able to say whatever you want to me, but I should be able to live on these platforms. And it's becoming increasingly likely that I won't be able to in any form soon. The fact that my smaller Instagram is constantly being messed with, and currently I can't even reply to comments for 5 days running, means that it's going that way for that one as well. Likely the same group that has been mass reporting my other account for years has been mass reporting this account. So it's only so long before the same problems find me there. It's a weird world that we're traversing. It's a total shame, because we need these platforms, and they need to be given to the public. They shouldn't be privately run and owned, and they should be having to run above board, where everyone can understand and be a part of the process, not there's something running in the background that we can't possibly understand. Don't bother trying. It's pretty insane. Anyway, I got another session coming up with Terry this week. I'm not super looking forward to it. We're going to be working on my neck again. I want to do the second pass on these roses to get them up to the same color as the ones on my arm. They'll probably be even brighter, because the first pass of the neck roses went quite a bit better than the first pass on the arms. So, and then we'll smooth out whatever black shading needs to be touched up while we're there. I don't think much. And then I've got one more session before I start my back piece with them. And then, as always, I have another session with Rick coming up, where we're just going to be continuing on the forearms. So I think we're going to be working on this guy back here again. But we'll see. All right, I'll talk to you guys again soon. Have a great day.